Are you pricing your services wrong? In this video, we'll cover 7 costly pricing mistakes that businesses often make. Watch it now and learn how to price your services in a way that helps you make more money. My name is Annette Ferguson. I am CEO of Annette Co, a UK-based accounting firm, and I am a chartered accountant and certified profit first professional. We don't want any small business owner to fall foul of some common pricing mistakes. So I'm going to cover 7 of those here today. And number 1 is don't price your services too low or you'll lose money. Now that may seem obvious, but that's often a trap that many small businesses get into. When pricing your services, it's really important to strike that fine balance between being competitive and being profitable. If you price your services too low, you may find that you are not profitable overall and that you even have to turn away business because you're at capacity yet not profitable or not profitable enough. And that is a horrible situation to find a business in. Pricing too low also often means that you can't hire the right team around you to support you, your clients, and your business. While some people feel like having lower prices helps attract customers or clients, it can be the case that people will look at your prices and think,
they're too cheap. There must be something wrong with them.
And that's not the positioning that we want for our business either. So make sure you examine the profitability of each of your programs, products, services, and offerings to ensure that each one truly is profitable, especially when you layer in things like your team's time and taxes. And number 2, don't set prices without doing some research. Before setting your prices for a product or service, it is important to do some research into it. This helps ensure that your price is fair and in alignment with what others are charging if you're offering something very similar. There are a few different ways to research price. The first is to look at similar products, programs, services, or offerings. This can be done online or in person. You can also talk to others in your industry to see if they will disclose what they are charging. But don't just pin your price exactly the same as your competition, because ultimately you don't actually know if your competition is profitable. They might be massively loss-making and you don't want to follow them down the drain. So whilst it's important to do research and understand your competitors' pricing, it's also just as important to ensure that your pricing is absolutely correct for your specific business. And 3, don't forget to factor in all your costs when setting your prices. It could be argued that as a business owner, one of your most important tasks is setting the prices for your products, programs, offers, and services. Whilst it may be tempting to just pick a number that sounds good, it is important to have a rather more strategic approach to it. In order to set your prices that are going to maximally benefit your business, you need to be clear on every single cost that goes into the delivery of your offering. This includes both the direct costs of delivery and indirect costs as well. Things that people often forget to factor in when they're trying to work out how to set their price are their own time as the business owner in servicing this customer or client and the time of other team members, say a virtual assistant, or the bank charges that you have associated with the transactions from Stripe, PayPal, or however you process your income. And it might be tempting to say,
well, I don't need to include my fee in there, my hourly rate in there, because I get paid from the business anyway. That's part of the business's overheads.
But If you are growing a business and at some point you're wanting to replace yourself with someone else in terms of serving and delivering, then you're going to have to make sure that your price is factored into the calculation so that you can afford to hire someone to do that role at some point. Once you are clear on all your costs, you can work out what the contribution to overheads is from each of your clients in each of your products, programs, services, and offerings. What that means is that once you have the income that they give you, the sales revenue, and you take off those costs, and you have a number that you are reached, and that number has to go towards all the other costs in your business, all the overheads, the corporation tax, and all other costs associated with running your business. So that number doesn't need to be just positive unless you are in a business that is attracting a huge amount of customers or clients. That number does need to be chunky enough so that you can cover business overheads, and that is part of the contribution towards it. Now, if you are getting value from this video, I would love if you want to make sure you hit that subscribe button. And 4, don't be afraid to raise your prices when they are too low. Many business owners are afraid to raise their prices for fear that they end up losing clients. And many fear that they'll in fact lose all their clients if they raise their prices. But not raising your prices when you need to will actually hurt your business in the long run. Clients and prospects may perceive your business as being inferior in quality with ultra low pricing. And like we've spoken about, you may struggle to cover your costs as well. In addition, low prices can often attract bargain hunters, and they are typically not the type of people that turn into loyal customers and clients. As a result, it's absolutely imperative to ensure that your prices are both fair and great value. If your prices are too low and you don't raise them, what ends up happening is ultimately you run out of cash. And number 5, do not compete on price alone. Make sure that you offer a unique value proposition. Businesses need to stay ahead of the curve in order to compete in today's marketplace. If you want to do this, you need to make sure that you're offering a unique value proposition to the market to set you apart from your competition. Price is always going to be a factor for many, but it is certainly not the only factor in your prospects' decision making. Consumers are increasingly looking for quality and incredible value, as well as experience. So making sure that you focus on creating a memorable customer experience can be key. And providing real value can help differentiate you from your competitors. Number 6, don't neglect the psychology of pricing. When it comes to pricing, businesses often focus on the cost side of things and their market rate for their products, programs, services, and offerings. However, it's also important to understand the psychology of pricing. Studies have shown that people are more likely to buy things that end in a 9 or more recently a 7. This is because our brain interprets those numbers as a discount. As a result, you can be strategic about how you price based on these ending numbers. But do remember that too many 9s or too many 7s start to look fake and unrealistic, which of course can start to turn customers away. So don't go OTT with it. But when you are setting prices, do keep the psychology of pricing in mind in order to maximize sales and profit margins. And 7, don't forget to review your prices regularly. Prices from your suppliers will always be changing, and especially when we are in periods of higher inflation. Therefore, it's imperative that you periodically review your own pricing to ensure that you are still profitable and to still make sure that you are charging correctly based on value. Reviewing your prices regularly makes sure that you are always setting a fair price for your services. This, of course, helps maintain customer satisfaction and loyalty, which in turn helps a business run more smoothly. So don't forget to review your prices regularly. It really is part of running a financially healthy business. And if you're not careful, the pricing of your products, programs, services, and offerings can become an incredibly costly mistake, and in some instances, a mistake that sinks the business. So follow these 7 tips to ensure you are not overpricing, but you are indeed maximizing profit as well as value for your clients and customers. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, please do drop me an email to yt@annetteandco.co.uk. And make sure whilst you're here to like and subscribe to this channel, as well as turn on the bell so that you know next time I upload a video about all things business and money.